Thank you, Venkat and Shyam, for setting the stage. On a lighter note, I think Venkat's covered everything that we wanted to say, so I'm wondering whether I have anything left to say. But good morning once again to all of you. It's such a pleasure to see all of you here again, and the hall is really brimming with people, so thank you for that. In the next hour or so, what we thought we'll do is cover the whole of the retail banking side of things. We've split it in such a way that you'll see my colleagues here with me on the table. So I'll start with an introduction to retail. Chitrabhanu, who's on my right, will talk about retail assets and cards. Sumodh, on my left, Sumodh on my right will cover digital, and Jitesh will take on the Fintech partnerships and what we do with Fintechs. We'll follow that up with a second tranche of team members of mine who will cover deposits, fee income, and distribution. We will end the retail session with a chat, a semi-panel discussion with 3 of our Fintech partners who are here today. So that's how we've structured the retail side of it. So just like Venkat said, and Lubna reminded all of us, we last met about 3 years back on the 26th of February 2020 and covered a range of items on all our businesses. Clearly, since after that, things changed a lot of water flown under the bridge, as they say. We are gathered here today again to look at how we've done. On the slide, you'll see a few numbers from a retail perspective, what the bank has done and how we have advanced on our progress on various metrics. I'm not going to cover all of them in detail, but I'd like to pick out a couple of them just to bring it to your attention. The first one I would like to talk about is really about what's happened on the CASA ratio. This has been something we've been really focused on, and as you see, we've advanced by about 4 percentage points. But it also masks the fact that in September 2022, we had gone up as much as 36%. Yes, the December quarter did come down a little bit, but that was reflective of what happened in the industry also. And that's got to be seen in the context of cost of deposits also, because we do play a very close eye on how we work with cost of deposits. It's something that is looked at very, very carefully with a hawk eye by all of us on the bank, in the bank. The retail assets growth has been pretty good, CAGR of close to 14% over this 3-year period. And that's got to be looked at in the context of the credit costs also, as you can see, which is the last metric on that slide. Over the last 3 years, all of us have done a considerable work in advancing our credit and collections framework, our entire risk management framework, and put in place a range of capabilities from a collections perspective that some of my team members will talk about in due course. If I can just play, if you can just indulge me for a minute, we'll play a video on the Rishta advertisement. I'm fairly certain all of you would have seen it, but it's always worth repeating for this audience. Coming on the back as it is of what you just saw a little earlier, the Dinesh Karthik post, I'm told that got about 50,000 views in 50 minutes. It was posted at 9 o'clock in this morning by Dinesh, and that's the kind of vote. So I'll just play the ad now.
स्मिता आओ वैसो
क्या बात है, स्कार्फ में भी पहचान लिया?
वो फेस पैक में भी पहचान लेती। बोलो आज बैंक कैसे? मनी ट्रांसफर
नहीं कर दी ऐप से।
तो एफडी
ऐप से।
चेक बुक चाहिए होगी नहीं है ना?
मेरी शादी है। ऐप में आप नहीं हो ना, इसीलिए खुद काट देने चली आई।
बहुत सरस।
रिश्ता आपसे है।
ऑल द बेस्ट।
सिर्फ ऐप से नहीं, फेडरल बैंक, योर परफेक्ट बैंकिंग पार्टनर।
So Rishta Aapse Hai, Sirf Aap Se Nahi has caught the attention of staff, customers, and a lot of our stakeholders over the last few days. And I think this is a higher purpose that we've brought into banking from that perspective. It's taken kind of the level of banking to a different one, and resonates very clearly with our entire theme of digital at the fore, human at the core. We do believe that digital and human relationships have to coexist. It's not an either-or story. Both of them have to exist. And I'll just give you one example of what was last night, a discussion that was happening amongst a few of us. One of my zonal heads was telling us that one of his branch heads actually reached out to a customer whose wife had passed away a year back, a very poignant memory. It was the 1-year anniversary. And she actually remembered that and reached out to her customer. And the customer was obviously touched by it because it's sometimes easy to remember birthdays, anniversaries. It's a lot more difficult, in my view, to remember something as sad as this. And to be fair, I mean, the conversation may not have been easy, but at the end of it, the customer actually was delighted enough to top up his balances with us immediately. That, I think, reflects what the franchise is looking at. How do you nurture these human relationships in the midst of all the technology that is around us? And we do have a lot of examples of this. We do recognize that this is a very difficult path we're treading on. Having said that, given the kind of stuff we've done with our people, given the kind of investments we've made, the Great Place to Work and other initiatives, we do believe we are on the right track. So that's really what Rishta is about and how we're taking that forward. One of my ex-bosses once told me, retail is all about detail. It's all about execution. I think you've heard Shyam refer to it, Venkat refer to it on execution. The same boss told me something else on a different note. He said, you can be rest assured that everybody will have a view on retail. It's very difficult to have views, Harsh, on structured finance and leveraged buyouts and those kind of things. Maybe a smaller group can, but the larger mass can definitely have a view on a savings account and a credit card. But jokes apart, I think the point is retail is a lot about execution. And the 4 Ds that you see coming on the top of the Ns that Shyam referred to is really about driving the NPS forward. So whether it's data and analytics, digitization, distribution, and how we enhancing the depth of our relationship is what retail is all about. I'll speak to a few of them. I know we've had instances of all this being covered by Venkat, and you will definitely hear it in subsequent presentations because that's really the lifeblood of what we work on. The first one is on data and analytics. I think Minu and Ishfaq were introduced to the audience. You can spend some time with them. But I'll give you 2 examples of what we've done to bring it to life. So as all of you know, we distribute life insurance products from our associate company, AGS Federal Life Insurance Company. And we've done well over the last few years. Having said that, we were not achieving the kind of penetration we wanted to particularly amongst our H&I customers. And we found it was difficult for our guys to actually go ahead and sell a relevant product to the profile of customers who are in our H&I base. So we worked our analytics team led by Minu and her team, worked very closely with AGS International from Hong Kong, and they provided us analytics support. So using the 2 capabilities together, we came up, and using machine learning and other algorithms, etc., we came up with a propensity model, and we rolled out that propensity model amongst our customers, amongst us PRMs, or priority relationship managers who deal with our customers. Over a period of about 6 to 8 months, we actually saw not just an increase in response rates, which was a result of the model, but also the ticket size went up. The ticket size went up by about 11% over a period of 6 months, and the fee income that the priority relationship manager was generating actually went up by nearly 50% over that period of time. The other example is on debit cards. Again, my deposits team will cover this, but I'll just make a passing reference to it. The debit card is a product that lends itself to higher sticky balances on the savings account. In December 2019, we were doing about 920 crores of debit card spends. In December 2022, we went up to close to about 1,478 crores to be precise, not just due to the number of customers going up, but the ticket size went up. The multitude of transactions done by the customer went up, and all this is not by accident, but by design. Through the campaigns we were running, the propensity models we had prepared. So if you look at it, whether it's credit cards, whether it's collections, in every aspect of retail banking, we've actually embedded analytics and made them practical for people to use. A little bit of a busy slide, as anything on digital tends to be. So I'll just focus on a couple of items in this slide. You will see on the right-hand corner, cute little boy. there's a different story of how he was born, etc. And on a different note, I can take you through that and how much time we spent conceptualizing Fedi. But you can see that Fedi has a thing, and there is a booth right at the back over there where a lot of stuff on Fedi is being covered. I'd encourage you to spend some time in the coffee break / lunch break on that. And you can see that the intent is that Fedi takes away some of the routine queries that we do across our contact centers, across our branches, so that we use more artificial intelligence-oriented methods to respond to customers. The other example that I have on the slide is Fedi Point, something that's not very spoken about very often. A lot of us focus on migrating financial transactions from the branches, which is great, and we should do it, and we've achieved progress on that. Having said that, we realized that our branches were still being bogged down, if I can say so, by what we call the non-financial transactions, from a KYC update to a PAN update to a checkbook request. And so we conceptualized and rolled out something called Fedi Point on our website, which is designed for customers who may not be completely, mobile app friendly, etc., but can come in through through an authentication protocol. They're able to migrate. They're able to do some of the very simple requests that come up in the branches. We've managed to migrate about 50% of the non-financial transactions in certain categories, as you can see on the slides, and that has freed up capacity in the branches to increase sales. So that's how we've used digitization, and Sumod's going to cover that in some level of detail as soon as I finish. On distribution, we have another kind of few slides coming up later on distribution, so I'll just focus on the fact that while we talk about digital at the fore, human at the core, we've got to evidence that. And the human at the core gets evidenced through what we're doing with branches, how we're growing the number of branches that we have, and how we're investing in more of the physical distribution aspect, because we do believe we have to be close to the customer. And there is a value associated with the physical outlet that is there. We are on track to open 75 branches this financial year, as was Venkat referred to. We just opened 2 yesterday, and as we speak, I'm leaving this evening because we are opening 2 in Rajkot tomorrow. So that's the kind of expanse we're doing. We're focusing on a few geographies, and Tamil Nadu is a very good example of that, in addition to the fact that Tamil Nadu will be close to 200 branches by the end of this financial year. We're doing a whole host of other things in Tamil Nadu, so you will hear references to the bus that we're trying out there. With working very closely with our marketing department, we're kind of embedding ourselves into the culture of the state through events that are micro-marketing oriented. Picked up, for example, Adyar, those who are familiar with Chennai, picked up Adyar to see how we can adopt that whole kind of mini micro-market and embed in it. So Tamil Nadu is something on course to become really a big contributor from a bank perspective. The depth of the relationship is the last of the Ds that we have. And here, this is where I think the technology and the human element comes together very closely. Last couple of years, we did a very in-depth study to identify what's our next kind of generation leap that we want to do from a customer relationship standpoint. And after careful evaluation, we chose Oracle's CRM solution with Infosys as our implementation partner. It's got a lot of components covering, sales, service, marketing, and you'll see a lot of kind of jargon on that slide, but I'll just talk about 2 of them. Responses. This is a cross-channel implementation of a campaign management solution, which uses an extensive amount of artificial intelligence, etc. We've gone live with it last month. We've started a pilot with staff, and we're beginning to see some great signs of success in embedding more products from a customer standpoint. The other example is right behind you. Again, when you have an opportunity at the break, please do spend time. You'll see a Fed Hive over there. That's how we monitor our social media. There's a dashboard in my room, which I can look at continuously to see, what is the chatter happening on social media? Are there any points that we need to pick up and address virtually on the go as we see? And I also see what's happening with our key competitors, because the board gives me a view of what's happening in the social media space. So that's really what we're doing on the CRM solution. The intent being to use these tools. These tools are not an end in themselves. They're the means to an end, the end being the depth of the relationship that we have with the customer and the cross-sell that we can do. So really what we're talking about from a retail perspective, and my colleagues will cover that in the course of the next few minutes that we have. How do we bring data, digitization, distribution, and the depth of the relationship all together? What are the levers that we're looking at to enhance return on assets and take the retail business forward? That's really what I wanted to cover in the introductory slides. I'll request Chitrabhanu to talk about retail assets and cards.
Thank you, Shalini. So yeah, I think Shalini has given a very detailed introduction about what exactly we are doing in the retail space. And earlier, Venkat was also given a clear picture about what is going to be our focus areas. Our focus areas on how do we grow unsecured, how do we ensure that we are able to add to our ROA of the bank. So just look at the slide. So we started off in 2019, wherein we had around 97% of our share of business from secured assets. From there, through intent of growing credit card business as well as through personal loans, we have been able to improve the share to 7% in unsecured spread. This is just a start. Maybe around 5 years back, we started the secured journey. Most of our business at that point of time was all Kerala-centric, maybe 7-8 years back. Subsequent to that, we put in the entire structure of relationship managers for our housing loan, for our auto loans, etc. And this big structure has been able to give us a lot of ground. I will show in the subsequent slides about what is the kind of business we have been able to impact through it. So, as Venkat has specifically mentioned, we are no more merely a Kerala-centric bank, but we are getting a lot of business opportunities, growth prospects outside the state of Kerala. So this is something which you are going to see in the next one. So we have been able to make use of all analytic skills, digital at the first, etc., as a way of penetrating into this particular market. The mention that Shalini also mentioned about CRM solutions. This is something which we have been focused on a lot because a product like a car loan or a housing loan is basically a comparatively lower margin product. So what do we do to ensure that we penetrate into these customers? Basically, these housing loan customers are our first window to discussing with these customers. We ensure that we penetrate more of these products into it, and a relationship manager structure per se, the scorecards that we have put for these relationship managers are used to ensure that they do other businesses, they bring in all their relationships. It's not limited to maybe a retail alone. It's not basically a savings account alone. How do we ensure that we get a BUB relationship from these customers? This is the way we are working on and making use of analytics. So yeah, when I move towards home loan, I thought maybe I'll start off with home loan. So the point which I mentioned earlier. So while we have a 0.92% of share in the market in India, but what we have done through our relationship model is that we have been able to bring incremental higher share in important places. Like for example, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, which is outside the, initial location where we all think about as Federal Bank. So we have been able to get incremental share of close to 3% in Mumbai, one of the biggest markets, where most of the bigger players are already functioning. Look at places like Bangalore, we have been able to get close to 1.5% of incremental share. And all this with maybe around 100, 150 of relationship managers in these locations. So the next set of activities that we are going into, which I already mentioned, is how do we cross-sell to these customers? How do we ensure that we reach more markets? The point which Venkat had mentioned about how do we use more sales through our FedServe subsidiaries so that we bring down the cost. The biggest challenge for all of us, I'm sure for most of the banks, is that the yield per se of a housing loan or maybe a car loan is comparatively lower. So how do we penetrate and bring down the cost? For that, one of the action points we have done is how do we do an end-to-end digitization in a housing loan. There are ecosystem challenges, but we ensure that at least most of the actions, right from the relationship manager to the disbursement, is done digitally rather than having to do it physically. That's one action point which we have taken. And that can be very clearly seen in our car loan journey. In the last 3 years, we have already implemented an end-to-end digital journey. So that has shown in the kind of business we have been able to do in it. We have brought in a penetration of close to 1% in the car loan market. So some of the other action, I think important things which might be interesting is we have a straight-through processing for all these customers of close to around 10 to 15%. You have 10% of customers who get a straight-through processing of car loans. So we are looking at how we can take this forward from 10% to maybe 15 or 20% over a period of next 1 or 2 years. The next important focus is going to be, as we need to ensure a higher ROA, how do we ensure that we focus on pre-owned vehicles? As of now, the pre-owned vehicles is not very high. It's maybe around only 4-5% of our entire portfolio, but how do we take this to 20% is something we are focusing on, and we are setting up the necessary structure for that. That's going to happen in the next 1 or 2 years, wherein we'll have at least at 15-20% of our structure. So the basic requirement for this is going to be to have a collection structure, which we have already put in place, a strong collection strategy for our pre-owned vehicles and two-wheelers. This is something we are working on. Now let me go to the most important part of it, the unsecured part, the personal loans, the credit cards, which is something which is being focused on by most of us now. Personal loan journey started off maybe from 2019, a little before that, and at that time we had a good level of disbursement. You can see the growth also from 19 to 20 has been quite good. But subsequent to that, due to COVID, we have brought in some controls over it. We just didn't want to just ramp up and give personal loans. And most of these personal loans which we have given till now, till date, is all pre-approved loans for our existing customers. In that sense, the kind of risk that's involved is also comparatively low. You go to our site, if you're an existing customer, you have a 3-click journey and you get a personal loan. So it becomes such an interesting proposition, easy one for customers. So we have been running it. Due to the recent guidelines, Reserve Bank of India guidelines on digital, we had to bring in some tweaking and changes because of all this. And we have come back compliant within a period of 1 or 2 months, and we are again back into this journey. And you can see that growth journey again in 2023. But this is just the start of it. So what we are looking at in the next 2 years too, how do we double this entire portfolio? And this cannot happen very easily just by our existing portfolio. So we need to also ensure that we go to new to bank customers. So for that, what we have done now is we have come up, or we have launched actually, an end-to-end digital journey for new-to-bank customers. So this is a seamless end-to-end journey wherein a customer can go to this journey, he completes his entire process, including underwriting. You have a model in place, all these things come together, and you get a loan within a period, a very short period. So you don't have to go to a branch, you don't have to go to any other location for this. This happens automatically. Along with this, we also understand that there has to be a rishta with customers. So we are also coming with other flows, like, for example, assisted models, etc., which will be coming in the next maybe 3-4 months. So this is what we are looking at in personal loans. How do we double it in the next 2 years? It's going to be our focus area. And the last product on our block, the kid on our block, credit card. So we have launched it maybe around 18 months back, and we are happy to inform that we have crossed already 5 lakh cards within a short period of this 1.5 years. So this is something which is a focus area for us, and we have various products, and you can also see the share of business which you have started off. But this is just the first 2 years for us, and most of the business, I mean, we have got a mix of both partnership as well as through our internal, pre-approved limits that we have been able to give. But now the focus is going to be on how we can take this to the next level. How do we ensure that in the next 2 years, we are among the top 7 players in the industry? So that's what's going to be our focus in the next 2 years. And for that, we have already launched a new-to-bank journey. So again, presently what we have done is all existing to bank customers. How do we ensure that we have a new-to-bank journey, an assisted model, etc., the ones which you spoke about in personal loan. And we are quite excited with this credit card journey. We are sure that in the next 2 years, you're going to see a lot of changes and a lot of strengthening of the entire team itself, so as to ensure that we go into that next level of business wherein we are at least within the top 7 in credit card industry. So overall, the focus is that while we continue to do our secured space and ensure that we have more penetration in it, we will get into unsecured, and this is going to be a good share of our portfolio, so as to ensure that we have a better ROA. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CV, for that. Great to see the progress we're making. 2 points before I get Sumodh to talk about digital. I think digital is also very core to our ESG agenda, and you will hear from our guru of ESG, Ashutosh, in a little while. But in the meanwhile, I hope you guys notice that we are a zero plastic, no waste, zero waste event here. There is no plastic being used in the event. So thanks, Shovik and team, for making sure that has been done. On another note, Tuesday morning, posted at 9 o'clock, I'm told DK's video has just crossed the 1 lakh mark. So I'll hand it over to Sumodh to take us through our digital initiatives. I'm also conscious on time, so please help.
Thanks, Shalini. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So as you might have already heard, Shyam, Venkat, Shalini, CB, everyone talked about digital initiatives in somewhat way. So what I am trying to do is that try to deep dive in one or two major initiatives across all the segments which were launched in the recent past. So especially we are focusing on the innovation, and we are always been continuously innovating in the digital space, and we will be continue to do so. So I'll just want to highlight one or two recent innovations we have done, as Shalini was mentioning about FIDI, our conversational assistant. So I'll just tell one or two numbers which FIDI is delivering right now. At present, FIDI is handling more than 5,000 queries per day. So that constitutes around 30% of the total queries our customers are having, either through our call center or through the FIDI. So that is, it's a general banking queries. And if you again deep dive, more than 65% of our basic banking financial transaction query, like say account statement, balance inquiry. So more than 65% of such queries are right now handled through FIDI. So that means our contact center agents are that much freed in answering routine queries, and they can may act as some sort of a banking advisors to the customers who are calling them. So the routine queries are getting transferred to this conversational assistant. So that is just want to highlight about FIDI. And second I want to highlight is we are the first and only bank right now which has launched cross-border bill payment services. That means NRIs, our expatriates in the Middle East, now they can visit any of the exchange houses there, and they can do their bill payments in India, whether it can be utility bill payments or their phone bill payments. So that is possible through the UPI channel, through the bill payment channel of NPC. So right now we are the only bank who is offering this service. Right now 3 of our partners are already live, 12 more partners are in the pipeline. So I just want to highlight these two initiatives, especially on the innovation front. Then going to along with the digital innovations, we are also focusing how we can improve the customer experience through those digital channels. So again, I'm not going through all those points. Just want to highlight 2 of these items. So we are the first bank, especially on the tax payments, whether it's income tax, GST, customs. We are the first bank to offer all the channel payments to the customers. Our government business head, Anu, will give more details on that at this time of the presentation. So we are the first bank to offer that service. And again, I just want to highlight one platform which we launched 1.5 years back. It's called Career Book. Career Book is an all-encompassing educational management software which we are giving to educational institutions. And I'm happy to say that through this Career Book, we already established Rishta with more than 5 lakh students. It's not only 5 lakh students, the Rishta extends to those parents, more 10 lakh odd parents, and those related educational institutions. The Rishta spread across students, parents, and the educational institutions. So this platform is continuously growing, and more educational institutions as well as students are getting onboarded for their all the educational fee payment services, school management solutions, everything. So yes, through these innovations and initiatives, what you achieved. Or if you look on the left side, Shalini have already covered. The new digital onboarding happens through digital. What's the percentage digital onboarding happens? So that's already covered. If you look at the right quadrant top, right now our digital share is, the transaction digital share is more than 90%. That means if there are 100 transactions happening in the bank, more than 90 transactions are happening through the digital channels, whether it can be mobile banking, net banking, chatbots. So only the 10 transactions happening through the branch. So that's the penetration which you are achieved on the digital side. And if you come to the bottom, I'm happy to say that in terms of mobile banking, active transacting customers, we are one of the top 5 private sector bank in the country. So I just wanted to highlight that figure. So these are some of the key numbers which are achieved through these digital initiatives. So a little bit more on FIDI. Earlier, Shalini and I told about the conversational capabilities which FIDI is having. So along with that, what we are trying to achieve is that right now FIDI is available across all the channels you can see in the middle. Whether it can be through Alexa, IoT devices, whether it's Google Business Messenger, Google Assistant. And I'm again happy to say that we are the first bank to offer FIDI as a conversational assistant through the Google Business Messenger. So you can experience that once you go to Google, you can experience FIDI. And as Shalini mentioned, all those new initiatives, whether it's conversational banking, whether it's through Android Wear, Android Auto, you can all have that experience in the breaks and the booth on your backend. So by all these digital initiatives, what we are doing, as you know, all this, the mantra of us, digital at the fore, human at the core. So that rides on these 5 pillars. We call them ABCD. It's an availability, business outcomes, customer experience, digital innovation, and employee experience. So all the initiatives ride on these 5 pillars. So and I can say that, in summary, I can say that digital is all pervasive. And you can find that digital innovation and digital initiatives will be present across all the business verticals in the coming presentations also. So with that, I'm just concluding my speech, handing.
Thanks, Sumo. Thank you very much. We've got one more session out here before we move to the next part. So I'll ask Jitesh to talk about what we're doing on fintech partnerships.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be among you after 3 years. So, I think probably some of you will remember me because we have been meeting here 3 years before. So the only one thing that has not changed in Federal Bank is this particular design of this particular slide in the last 4 years. I was under tremendous pressure to redesign this, but this is like my mental leaves periodic table, where my Arista with all the fintechs is being shown here in a single slide. But one thing I can guarantee, or one thing I can tell you, that the number of elements in this table has changed, or it has gone up exponentially, and I'm finding difficulty to now manage. I have to redesign this by the time next time I meet you, because my fintech partnerships are growing. But before I speak about this particular slide, let me tell about the fintech partnerships with the bank. So Federal Bank today is the powerful magnet for fintechs, as you all of you will know. And as I am interacting with most of you, I've been receiving questions on this as well. But this didn't happen by accident. It was a conscious decision. If you remember, 5 years back, open banking was actually a concept. It was an evolving concept in developed markets, and banking as a service was gaining significance. In this background, we deliberated about creating something for open banking, and we created an open banking infrastructure way back in 2017, which will allow fintechs to actually come and connect with us in a plug-and-play mode and create their products. Whatever products they want to create, they can create, which should be aligned with the bank's business objectives. And we strongly believe in these partnerships, and we believe that this partnership can help us to enhance our reach, enhance our distribution, and we also are able to get a new set of client base who otherwise traditionally were not belonging to us or not coming to us. And we also believe that this journey between fintechs and bank, both fintechs and banks are equally benefited, significantly benefited, and we are also able to offer an extremely different or entirely different hyper-personalized customer experience to customers in different segments using different type of applications. Now coming to the slide, you can see we are there across the spectrum. For liabilities, we have AP5, Jupiter, both founders are here. For credit cards, we have One Card, Anurag is here. And for gold loan, we have Rupik. And to memorize, 2019-20 when we are here, we only had 2 partners who were showcasing their booths here. One was Newsly Technologies, was into gold loan, into microfinance, and Rupik into gold loan. Today, you can see we have DGV, One Card is there, and credit cards and DGV is there in the financial inclusion. Gujarat, we are doing a big work with Amul, with 36 lakhs farmers. We are working with DGV there. We have other partners like in Rupik, I have mentioned Paisa Basar in the personal loan side, we have already partnered. And you also see multiple partners, same partners repeating in multiple segments. That means across the spectrum, partners are connected to us for different services. Could be gold loan, could be personal loan, could be credit cards, could be other payment services, etc. So that's what we are here. And we have also created a strong fundamentals. And in the bottom side, we are seeing about our tech TSPs who actually support the entire ecosystem. So moving to the next slide. So in this side, basically, I would like to call out 2 important aspects. We are the only bank, probably the only bank who has created an entire ecosystem or entire vertical catering the fintechs, where we have capabilities like risk, compliance, legal, cybersecurity, monitoring, and collections under the single umbrella. And on the second side, these are my capabilities currently. We can actually offer 250 credit cards per hour, 100,000 TPS for our fintechs. 10 savings account per minute can be opened using your platform, and 25 personal loans per hour exclusively for partnership. This is not organic I'm saying about. It is in addition to organic, this is what we are capable of. And our partners are challenging us to benchmark it every hour of the day. So by the time we go back today, probably Anurag is looking at another 25 cards to be added next day. So that's the pressure under which we are working. But this is what currently makes us the most hot or preferred bank for fintechs. I'm getting some pressure to speed up. So our partnership has actually helped us to enhance our geographical penetration. If you see the map, India map on the left side, you can see that our opportunities were basically very high on the left side. But with fintech partnerships, you can see our customer geographical distribution has significantly improved. You can see the greens have actually come down. Now our opportunities are now in limited areas which will be complemented either by a bank or a new fintech which we will integrate in that particular space. And we are also having access to a new set of customers who otherwise would not have come to a bank branch and opened the accounts. So that is the significance of this partnership, and we have faster go-to-market strategy or go-to-market capability when we partner with a fintech. We can go live with a credit card or a PL program in less than 45 to 50 days. For example, the Paisa Bazaar example will tell you digital lending guidelines came up, and in a matter of 45 days, we are live with a program with Paisa Bazaar. So that is the capability or that is the strength of partnerships. And on the right-hand side, we show the share of fintechs or share of partnerships in the overall growth of business. And we hope to increase our pie in the coming years. So next time when we meet, I hope I will be able to present a higher share in this particular graph. Yeah, Chitravanu is with me. Yeah. Coming to my most high-yielding, high ROA products, credit card and PL. Ever since we launched the product, we are seeing extremely good growth in the both segments. We launched credit card with one card in September 21, especially exclusive for the NDB segment. And as Sithamani was already mentioned, 5 lakh we are crossed, and out of that 4 lakhs basically is done through partnership with one card. And right now we have 5, and 5 is already 5. The study is coming in, but 5 is already launched the card, and Jupiter is also in CUG for launching the credit cards. As far as personal loans are concerned, we launched with Paisa Bazaar, and personal loans are basically growing significantly. We are seeing a 3 to 5 crore run rate per day per partner, and this can scale up as we tie up with more partners. And you can see we are lined up for another 10 partners in this particular year, this financial year, and most of them will definitely will actually help us in drive higher ROA. And for and these customers also are good targets for high cross-sell products. So all these partnerships are basically contributing to NTB customer acquisition, and ETB, while Chitramanu takes care of ETB plus NTB, these partnerships help us high level of NTB acquisition. And the partnerships who are actually helping us to enhance the run rate in customer acquisition, Phi and Jupiter, currently, most of you know, are basically 2 products which are having extremely good traction. If you'll be listening to Jiten and Sujit in the latter part of this particular session, but I think Sujit was saying that around 1 million downloads are there for every day, and they don't want to engage all that 1 million, but they are actually restricting that numbers to a lower scale. So we have seen significant number of customer acquisition in the last 1.5 years, and you would have seen from the India map, and the CASA balance is also growing. And as we enhance the revenue from cross-sell, like Forex, credit cards, personal loans, and investment in US stocks, etc., you will see CASA balance actually exponentially going in the coming years. And we also want to create sticky balances through best-in-class proposition investments, mutual funds, and other products as well. And we have 4 more partnerships in pipeline in this year. And that's all from my side. I hope to come back to you and see you next time with more number of partners and numbers. And you'll also hear from my partners in the next slide. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jitesh.